Okay, we are back in lovely Washington State. This time I'm here to get Grandpa's Chevy and drive it 1,900 miles across the country. Let's see if it's gonna make it. So here we got Gramps. This is my Grandpa's 1967 Chevy C10. I had a video before when I polished the gauges on it. It's got a Targetmaster 350 that was put in 1982. This is the fourth engine this truck has had. The truck has 800,000 miles on it. And it's been cared for, obviously, or it wouldn't still be on the road. I had to change the battery clamp. I was not getting a connection through the clamp into the main battery cable. I was getting connection into the main power feed, so you turn the key and it was just clicking. You can hear it's running really well. We do have some pretty serious exhaust leaks at the donuts, but I'm just going to have to live with them. That belt needs to be tightened up. We're about at the end of the adjustment, so I might just go ahead and get a belt for it. I believe everything else is ready to go. The cabin is pretty dirty. I'll have to clean it up and out. There's not really much room here because the seat is up against the tank. 3-speed on the column, still works fine. It doesn't jam or get in between gears, although it is getting a little sloppy. You know, no wonder given all the miles. But you know, back when Grandpa was driving this truck, this was just polished metal. That I thought was chrome because it was so polished. This seat's out of a square body, that's why it doesn't quite fit. Okay, I need to unload the back. I've got an Isuzu diesel and automatic transmission. Those were going to make their way into my 61 Dodge, but I've decided not to do that. So I need to get them out of here and get them to the recycler. I want to try to have this thing set up so I can sleep in the back of it instead of paying 120 bucks a pop for a hotel room. That's it for now. Tomorrow we're going to get busy. Good morning. This is day 2 of the Washington to Oklahoma trip in the 1967 Chevy C10. I haven't been very diligent about filming anything. I've just been going. I'll try to do better on that. So my accommodations here, let me show you. Lovely accommodations. Aluminum topper, camper shell, canopy, whatever you want to call it. Fred Meyer air mattress. Got crossways air conditioning. Got my rechargeable fan here, which actually kicks ass. So hotel rooms, like when we drove out here, were between 100 and 150 bucks for Motel 6. Flea bags are still about the same, and it's like, I don't have that kind of scratch. Even if I did, I wouldn't pay it. I mean, it cost me 5 to 10 bucks to take a shower here at the truck stop. And, you know, these Love's truck stops have excellent showers. So this is what I do. This is what I did when I did the bus trip. This is a little different, sleeping in the back of a truck, you know. I'm not as limber as I used to be. Sure as hell not as thin. But it's not bad. Or at least it wasn't last night. We'll see. I got cold real fast, but that's no big deal. I mean, whatever. I can open these windows. I can close these windows. I got 2 blankets. You know, I've got my window treatment here, you know, for privacy. Oh, so I am currently a little bit east of Boise, between Boise and Mountain Home. So I did pretty good time the first leg. Had a couple issues, or one issue. Not too far out of, or coming up over the Chinook Pass. I went around a sharp curve, kind of fast, and I heard something making noise, and I just thought, the fan is rubbing on the fan shroud, maybe. And then I smelled coolant, and I looked down, and the temperature gauge was fast heating up. But I was about half a mile from Tipsy Lake, so I just pulled off there, and, you know, of course, everything's steaming underneath the hood. And some guy come running over with 6, you know, water bottles. Popped the hood, and what had happened was somehow the fan had caught the heater hose. And the heater hose was wrapped around the fan, and the belt was so loose that, and the coolant acted like a lubricant, so it just was slipping, and yeah. But the hose was so long, I just trimmed it, put it back together. I had a gallon of coolant, and then that guy's water bottles, and that was enough. Got back on the road. It was like a 10-minute fix. 5 minutes to fix it, and 5 minutes to let it cool down. So that was like my only breakdown so far. Now, the reason the belt was loose, I noticed it was loose before I left, and I tried to tighten it, but, you know, I'm real careful. Sprayed some penetrant on the adjusting bolt, and I started turning it, and I noticed I didn't see the bolt turning inside. I just saw the head turn, and I stopped, because it was trying to break off. So, as I'm doing other things over the course of the day, 2 days, I'd hit it with penetrant. And so the belt was loose, you know, obviously. But when I stopped for gas, it was real loose, like, you know, flopping. And it was about half its normal thickness. So I went one more run, and it was like it was about ready to fall off. I mean, I could turn the alternator inside the belt. I could turn the fan inside the belt. Wasn't having any issues. It wasn't discharging, and it wasn't getting hot, but, you know. So I tried it, and sure enough, the bolt turned. So there's a stack of belts here that Grandpa had. And these things are new, but they're older than Jesus himself, and they're kind of hard. There's one of them that was even in still had the ream on it. It was a Goodyear Matchmaker or something like that, and it was the right size, so it's on there. And so far, so good. It's working. Stay tight. That was about the only other little maintenance. Now, well, I had, you know, the dash lights weren't working, which kind of pissed me off, because I went through all the hell of basically rebuilding the cluster and polishing the lenses and everything just so I could have dash lights. But it was just the connection on the fuse was bad. And one of the headlights was pointing down at the ground, so I had to pull up to the side of a building and adjust the headlights. Just real quick, just little things, little niggling things that I haven't gotten a hold of. Adjusted the carburetor a little bit, my second stop. But basically, the truck's been doing well. I've been averaging 13 miles a gallon. I've been trying to run. I started off running 60 And the truck wants to run 70, 75. I mean, I caught it going past 75 a couple times. There's no cruise control. And I'm trying to keep it at 65. I don't know what gears are in this thing. But it wants to run. I mean, it wants to go. So, we'll see. We'll find out. I don't know. I'm not going to run it that fast. I got to figure out what gears are in this thing, though, because there's no tack. And I don't want this screaming down the highway. I mean, this truck just sits, so. But, you know, it goes straight down the road. It doesn't pull. It handles well. It rides nice. It's even stopping. Hey, for the first time in this truck's life, it stops. But it's also the first time in this truck's life, you know, it's been empty back here. I got rid of that diesel engine, the transmission, you know, all that. So it's doing pretty well. So I'm going to go in to this truck stop, grab a shower, and we'll be back on the road this morning. And everything's looking good. So I'll catch up with you guys on the next one. Okay, guys, we made it. 1,900 miles. It was more like 2,000 from driving around Colorado, but we made it. We're here. We're home. I called the truck Gramps. And with the exception of that little issue with the heroes, it made it here without any real problems. You can see Washington State was really hard on this poor old truck. Just the layers of rust started in, you know. Didn't have any real oil leaks per se, just kind of had some wet, seepy areas. It kind of looked like it might have even had some blow-by issues. I never really saw any blow-by, but having the oil around all the seals on the valve covers there, kind of leaking. PCV. Just above the add line, so we used almost a quart of oil. I'll take it. A quart of oil for 2,000 miles. It's not bad. This engine's got about 100 and... my fingers look... It's weird. They look like they're wet. Anyway, this engine's got about 180,000 on it. So yeah, I think it's doing pretty good. We averaged about 13 miles a gallon. I just had that heater hose over there, got in the fan because it was too long. I wanted to kind of loop them up and clamp them to the fender well there, so I made them extra long, but that apparently was part of my downfall. This belt, I was worried about breaking that bolt off, but every time before I left Washington, when I was packing it, unpacking it, doing whatever, I'd go by that bolt like once an hour and just spray a little WD-40 on it. So that's all I had. Just a little bit, and then halfway through the trip, that belt got real bad. Like you could just spin the alternator with your finger, you could spin the fan with your finger, but it wasn't getting hot and it was charging fine. And I tried it and it turned. And Grandpa had that belt in the very back. It's a little bit loose again, but it'll tighten up. Yeah. So like I said, 2,000 miles, 13 miles a gallon. You can do the math. I'm not gonna. I'm tired. And these vents down here haven't been opened in 25 years because they were full of leaves. I went ahead and opened them. It was my hope that the leaves would blow out and then, you know, that'd be it. Nope. They just kept blowing out. They kept blowing out. Dirt. Like the leaves have turned into dirt. It's gross. You can actually see out back now. Even though that mirror is not in very good shape. So in a nutshell, that's it. I didn't spend a lot of time filming the driving because I mean that's pretty boring. Or I guess I could have probably got some shots of the scenery, but I don't know. I mean the truck went down the road perfectly straight. It rode smooth. It really wasn't a bad drive. It was very hot. It was very dirty. And the ergonomics aren't very good. I mean part of the problem is that seat could be manipulated a little better, but with the gas tank back there, the square bodies didn't have a gas tank in the cab, so they were a little thicker. Little things like that. But a friend of mine has a truck that's almost identical, but his has a regular clutch in it. Grandpa always bought a heavy duty clutch. His has power steering, like real power steering, not a power assist, and his has power brakes. And it just drives much nicer than this. So if I wanted to put all the work into it, I could, and probably have a pretty decent driving truck. But I don't really want to put all the work into Grandpa's truck. I want to leave it the way Grandpa had it. And I mean, frankly, I'm not into Chevys. I've said that before. Sorry if I'm breaking anybody's heart, but this will be the only Chevy that I intend to own that isn't just a flip. And someday I might put some work into it, start restoring it, put it back to the white, the blue paint job. Grandma really hated how ugly it looked when it was white and rusty and, terrible because there wasn't any paint on it. Grandpa always washed the truck in kerosene. So it pretty well took all that lacquer off, but she had me rattle can paint it blue when I was like 16, and that's what's on it now. Someday I'll put some time and work and money into it, but the one I really want to fix up is the one I'm going back for right now that I have to assemble before I can drive out. So that is a 61 Dodge D300 one-ton dually, and we'll do a full-on write-up on it. I call that one Casper. It's actually not white, it's Mustang Gray is the name of the color, but yeah, whatever. So that's it for this video. It's a little shorter one. And that's just what's going on. It's taking me away from these other projects, but here, once I get the Dodge assembled, I'll be able to bring it out here. I'll be back here. I'll be back to work and back on the normal projects. I got to finish that Mazda up and then jump over on the Jeep, get it done, then get back on the Cricket. So until then, you guys stay safe. I'll talk to you later.